Yo, what's up? This is exactly doing my number two on a movie I'm really going to love called Precious. And this is actually my third time recording. I usually run over the minutes on this particular one. What I'm going to discuss on this one is the people involved in getting Precious. I tried to do all four of them, but I decided to do two and two to kind of also put my little comments as well as their histories all combined into this right here. So, pretty much, um, it's going to be Sapphire and Lee Daniels. That's going to be number two. Number three is going to be Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey. I'm going to do that too. I tried to do it together, but just kept running over the time limit. Plus my own little comments and their history and things like that. Just too much information. So that just means more wonderfulness for you out there who want to see these. So anyway, let's start with the origin of Precious. All right. So got some notes here on all of them. So just gonna read through. Like I said, add my own comments. So Sapphire Ramona Lofton, that's her real name, is a lesbian author. Uh, of the author of the book called Push, renamed to the movie Precious, working as an exotic dancer, a performance artist, a social worker, a teacher of reading and writing. She took the name Sapphire because it also associated at one time in the African American culture with the image of a belligerent black woman, something that she is very proud and very dedicated to represent. Proud and proud and dedicated, that means she want proud and dedicated. That's not me talking. And I was curious about this name Sapphire, so I started to look it up. So I got the quickest, yes, synopsis that I could find on um, Sapphire. All right. So in 1929, Amos and Andy show. You can look that one up if you don't know what that one is. Joined NBC and added a show called Kingfish and his wife Sapphire. Yeah, there was a black character called Kingfish. It was like his nickname. Anyway, it became one of the most popular radio shows in the United States. And what it was is that the white writers wrote Sapphire in a most unique way. They just thought of, making the show quite different from all the other shows, even white shows out there. So what they did, this was not a black woman's true self. This is something created. They made Sapphire uh, loud talking, abrasive, overbearing, bossing, controlling, and most importantly, emasculating. And with that, we get the birth of black women doing that in modern day shows. And it explains a lot. But here is Sapphire embracing that created image, just like she created this sewage called Precious that so many of you are just rushing to see because you can't wait to see abuse and incest and things like that. Myself, not really, not too much. But let's stay on point, right? So in 1977, Sapphire moved to New York City with $20 to her name. She'd be planned to become a writer, but strangely just wound it up like, oh no, accident on my own, working up in the sex industry around the Times Square. She worked as a go-go dancer. This is by her own admission. This is not me. You can look it up. She was a prostitute for a time. However, she never felt welcome, not with her friends, not with her family, not with her cousins and nephews and things like that, right? She never felt comfortable with anybody until she reached out and got embraced with the city's lesbian community, which she has stayed with ever since. And the final quote from Miss Ramona Lofton, aka Sapphire, is that, and this is her quote in a 2007 interview: I'm not trying to be the new Shakespeare or Henry James. I'm trying to find the most blackest, bloodiest, and most female form of expression of all. That's her quote. That just tells you what she's about right there. Total sensationalism, total made up fantasy. She has nothing to deal with real life. She'll take real life parts and put them all together to make something. It's like having trash, in your trash can, right? And instead of just throwing it out to the dumpster, you actually go to the trash pit. That's where all the dump trucks go. And you go there to dump your trash. That's what she does. She gathers all the trash up all together into one big mass of shit. That's basically her job. And she wants you to read it. She wants you to embrace that. So let's go to Lee Daniels. He's the director, and he's been involved and directed and produced and, producer and all that things, responsible for the horrible, wretched, terrible movie called Monsters Ball, Shadowboxer, and The Woodsman. I've heard of Shadowboxer, I've heard of The Woodsman, but I've never met anybody who's seen them. So I looked them up once again, and this is what I found. Uh, Shadowboxer has Cuba Gooding Jr. on the front. Some of you have seen that box. There's Cuba Gooding standing there with a gun. He's like, you know, he's an assassin. So it's got this older white woman named Helen Mirren, who incidentally was going to be in the movie Precious. But anyway, um, Rose, a female assassin, is diagnosed with terminal cancer. She decides to carry out one final killing, assisted by her lover, who is also her stepson that she raised, which is Cuba Gooding Jr. So you see Cuba having sex with his stepmom. She's like 60, he's like, 35 or whatever crap. Uh, Coincidentally, in this movie, Monique is also in this movie, which doesn't surprise me that she's also in the movie Precious. But she plays a nurse. She's also in a interracial relationship. She plays a nurse, and guess what the nurse's name is? It is Precious. All right, let's go to The Woodsman. The Woodsman stars Kevin Bacon. The Woodsman is about a pedophile who returns from his hometown after 12 years in prison and attempts to start a new life by getting a small apartment directly across the street from an elementary school. So there you go. You got Monsters Ball, you got Shadowboxer, and you got The Woodsman by this dude. What the fuck, right? This openly gay filmmaker, you see that he is openly perverse in his movies and his portrayal of men, especially black men. Just like, you can kind of see where they're going with this. So those are those two people right there. You've got a lesbian writer and a gay filmmaker. That explains a lot about this film, and some of the, decisions and choices and things like that. Lee Daniel doesn't care about women and their portrayal because he's interested in men. You know, he doesn't particularly care that, black men aren't represented right, especially since if they are, they would be straight. So the only ones he wants to promote are gay black men that are towards his liking. But he could care less about what black women's, imagery is, or black men being straight. So this dude doesn't fucking care. He just wants the money so he can have orgies with like white dudes and black dudes and stuff like that, and do all kinds of, dildo things and, ass pumping or whatever. So that's the first two. I'll go into Tyler Perry and Oprah on the second one. This is exactly. I'm out.